Who?
Did you know there was another board member?
Who's that?
Yeah, you see them at restaurants around here?
We're on now. All right, we're going to call to order the, huh? Oh, what's, the online thing is on.
Excuse me.
All right, I'm going to call the meeting, the April 19th. Is today the 19th? No, it's the 20th.
It was posted.
Oh, posted on 20, okay. The April 20th, 2022 meeting of the Hammond Downtown Development District. Want to call roll, Michelle?
Frank Victoria,
Here.
John Daniel Garia,
Here.
Alex Nicious,
Here.
Elsa Hollywood. Here. Kathy Reagan. Here. Evan Singer. Here. Brian Wall.
All right, old business. Approval of the March 2022 financial report. Michelle, is there anything noteworthy that you want to bring to anybody's attention?
You'll see we got a check for $84,000 property taxes. We have 92,000 remaining still to receive. Nothing too much has changed.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Frank Victoria,
Yes.
John Daniel Garia,
Yes.
Alex Nicious,
Yes.
Elsa Hollywood.
Yes.
Kathy Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer. Brian Wall.
All right, approval of the March 16th, 2022 minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Frank Victoria,
Yes.
John Daniel Garia,
Yes.
Alex Nicious,
Yes.
Elsa Hollywood.
Yes.
Kathy Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer. Brian Wall.
Approval of the minutes from the April 4th, 2022 meeting.
I move we approve the April 4th minutes.
Second.
Frank Victoria,
Yes.
John Daniel Garia,
Yes.
Alex Nicious,
Yes.
Elsa Hollywood.
Yes.
Kathy Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer. Brian Wall.
All right, the Railroad Park project update.
Good evening, Roy Dufresh. I'll just give you a quick update. And we are really close to getting things done. We're issuing tonight substantial completion, and I'll go over that with you. It might just be easier to go to the change order because I can address some of the things that are part of the change order tonight. If you remember last meeting, we talked about the painting of the letters. Y'all authorized me to go to $1,000 for the painting of the letters to the different color. Well, it was a little bit more than that, but the contractor agreed to do it for $1,000, so that's one of the items. We initially intended to open the park on Friday, but due to the delay in the engraved bricks until May 6th, Michelle and I talked, and I think you guys can make the final decision. Rather than open the park and have some negativity about not having the engraved bricks in there, because you know people, when the park's open, they're going to go there looking for their bricks. And so rather than do that and have a social media problem and a negative beginning to the park opening, we are postponing that until around May 10th. We think we'll get the bricks on or before the 6th, so they're going to take the guys a day to put them in. Unfortunately, what that's going to require is it's going to cost us about $685 in fence rental. One of the things we want to do is we want to keep the perimeter fence up to keep people out so they don't see that there's something missing. What we're doing, we're reconfiguring the fences around the perimeter so all the sidewalks will be open, the parking will be open on the west side, and the mural area will be open for this weekend with the live painting and that kind of thing. As you know, Cassie could tell you, with substantial completion, you really are offering the owner the opportunity to occupy the site and do that. And what we're going to be doing is, I've talked to the contractor, and they're fine with that. We're just going to be occupying everything outside the fences. We'll be releasing that. That will be the owner's domain, and they will take over maintenance of those things outside the fences. Everything inside the fences will still be the contractor's responsibility. Any damages, anything like that happen, they'll take care of that. So back to the change order for 1 second. You can ask questions in a minute. The change order is for the $1,000 for the painting. The perimeter fence rental for another 3 weeks is $684.29. They pay for it on a monthly basis. And then the contractor had missed one of the concrete testing. I don't know, I probably don't remember this, but several months ago we did one in the specs, and it requires the owner to pay for concrete testing. And we approved one several months ago, but they had missed one of the invoices. That is for $838 for a total of $2522.29. We're doing the change order first because the new pay application reflects this change order, so we don't have to have a special meeting and try to get all the paperwork done tonight. Any questions about that change order? Okay, I'll have Frank sign that in a minute. Next, the pay application. I had, if you saw it, the email, if it was sent to you an email today, I had put the wrong number on there. What we're holding and attached to this substantial completion form is a punch list with values on it. The things that are missing out there, the major things, is the bronze plaque, which has been ordered, the engraved bricks installation by the contractor, we have 2 dead trees that have to be replaced. That's $1,200. That's going to be done Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. And there was one other item. I'll think of it in a minute. But anyway, we are paying them everything but retainage, and that amount, which is, let's see, I can tell you that 1 second. $6,250 we're holding of their money. That is those punch list items that have the values. And the punch list is attached to the substantial completion form. So we're paying them $20,454.08. Their balance to finish, including retainage, is $46,175. Retainage is about $39,000. If you add the $6,250 to that, that's where you get the $46,000. So the next meeting, 45-day lien period will begin on Friday. So after that's done, and as next meeting, we'll release whatever monies are due if they finish some of these items. And then after 45 days, when we get the clear lien certificate, give them their retainage money. Any questions about the pay application? Lastly is the certificate of substantial completion. We basically talked about that. It values the punch list is attached to that, the entire punch list is attached to that. If you saw that, I've grayed out all the items that are completed. I bolded the items that total the $6,250. Those are the items, the trees, the bronze plaque, the engraved pavers, and there was one other item. There are 2 lights still missing, the 2 landscape lights on the crepe myrtles. I just found out today they're coming in on the 28th, and we'll have those installed within a couple days after that. So, any questions on that?
So that's, you just covered A, B, C, and D?
I just covered A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
Yes.
And then the change order you got tonight is number
Number 7. 6, I'm sorry, 6.
And that's, we need to approve that tonight?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I'll need you to sign it on the far right. I'll need you to sign these. Certificates of substantial completion. You sign here, and then on the back of these 3, right? That's your name right there.
So we need a motion
Is
for
there-
the
is there any-
change order?
Yeah.
Hold
So-
on. Is there any further discussion on change order 6? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve change order number 6.
I'll second.
Randy Victoria,
Yes?
John DeLonge,
Yes.
Donna Sessions,
Yes.
Elton Hollywood,
Yes.
Kathy Reagan,
Yes.
Evan Singer, Ryan Long.
Pay,
Change order
and
8.
pay or, now, pay application 8. Is there any further discussion on that? Which one is it?
I move we approve pay application number 8 as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second,
I'll put-
Randy Victoria,
Yes?
John DeLonge,
Yes.
Donna Sessions,
Yes.
Elton Hollywood,
Yes.
Kathy Reagan,
Yes.
Evan Singer, Ryan Long.
And the last thing I'll tell you, I told you last time, we'll have the lights on tonight. I know you have a long meeting. I'll be there till about 8. If you don't show up by 8, I'm turning the lights off, and we can do it another time. But I've got to kind of do a walkthrough on the lighting because they've added some stuff this week, and I'm going to check the adjustments on those things. So if you can come by, ride by and see it lit up at night. Letters are painted. They still have some touch-up to do on those. They look really good. And we're really, really, really close.
Awesome.
We also have to,
Wait.
don't we have to approve substantial
I'm getting there. I'm
completion?
trying to make sure. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I've got some
It's
stuff.
so many items.
Sign that one, too.
I make a motion, we approve substantial completion as submitted.
I'll second.
Yes.
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 Is there anything here on the pay application?
Brian Wong.
I signed that.
You just approve it, got it. That's all the change orders done.
You need me to sign this? or-
Did you sign this? You have signed substantial completion.
It's just the second sheet. No, you didn't sign that.
Sign here.
Did I sign the right line on that one?
Second one. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so we approved the change order, approved the pay application, approved substantial completion. E, final mural.
So in your packets, you'll see, I was trying to pull up the final one on here so the public could see it. We held public voting for a little over 1 week for the final mural concept. The results are that concept A is the winner. I'm pulling that up in just a minute. The public can see what that concept looks like.
So A was the train on the right,
Yeah.
when you're looking at it, I guess. All right. Excuse me. I can't project to it. I got mine. Yeah, I don't have a wooden.
It's also in my email, so I had to unplug the HDMI.
All right, just looking at it, it looks like there were 65% of the 696 votes selected A. Of the voters, so there were 696 total votes, 65.52% were in favor of A. All right.
Yes.
Is there any discussion on this? Do you need us to, are you asking us to approve something, or accept this, or?
No, I'm just trying to show the public. The historic district did approve these, did approve the concept. Sorry, I can't.
Okay, that's fine, it doesn't, Michelle, it doesn't matter. All right,
But,
so we're
the
going, so
historic
it's,
district approved it at their special meeting last week, so we are set and ready to paint. She is en route to Hammond on Friday and expects to have it completed by Tuesday, April 26th, in which we would do a final walkthrough. Any board members are invited to come for that final walkthrough for approval. Roy will be there, I will be there, and the design committee and Lacey has been invited to come to that as well.
And that's Tuesday?
Yes, at noon.
all right, if there's no further,
At what time? At noon?
Noon, not like 12:30.
there's no further public discussion on that, you don't need any action from us, we're good to, everything's good to go? All right, grand opening.
So given the delay with the bricks and whatnot, Chelsea and I decided that we would host the grand opening on a weekday on June 1st in the evening. So we are working on that communications package and releasing that out there. We will be doing postcards for every person who purchased a brick and bench. So we will get those started very soon so we can get those out. We'll also be looking to run an ad in Tangi Lifestyles if they have not already submitted their June, July publication. And really looking forward to the community coming together around that. Given that the benches will not be in, we will hold a separate dedication ceremony sometime in August, most likely, for the bench dedication.
You might want, there's not a lot of those. You may want to directly communicate to them so they're not,
I
I
already
know you're
have.
going to do whatever, but just
Yeah.
make sure that I don't want anybody surprised or wanting to know where the bench is. So
Yeah,
just try
I
to-
individually have followed up with most people who have purchased a bench. I'm still working through a few, just to let them know of the delay. And most of them seemed, they want to see their bench, obviously, and
Right.
so we're working on that.
So that was June the 1st, I'm sorry.
Wednesday, June 1st,
5:30?
I won't be here, but it's cool.
5:30?
5:30.
Okay. All right. I don't think there's any other discussion on that. Is there? Okay. DDD building, the DDD sewage line issue.
I got a couple other players here with me tonight. Chime in if you feel like it, but over the past 3 weeks, I feel like I'm becoming a plumber expert after personally like hosing some of the pipes, what was that, 3-4 Fridays back, and cleaning, flushing out the line, to witnessing a camera study, that was last Friday, and then today, Guy Palermo and the city they were able to dig up that clean out that we've been talking about. I know you guys are all privy to this with some of the emails, but he opened up the whole clean out and where the connection comes to where we could witness and see that flapper that we've all been talking about. This flapper, what it does is allows, it's kind of like a little gate valve. So if you have, say, rising water from the city here that does somewhat happen in downtown where the stormwater and the sewer mix, the water, to prevent it from going into the building, this flapper kind of prevents that from happening. So this flapper sits there, and I witnessed it, I was able to see it, it's working functionally, it's fine. So I guess the big picture here is that we're going through all these kind of steps that we can take in a process of elimination to really figure out what's going on with why we're not getting a good positive drainage. The funny thing is that it's not backing up the toilet, it rises up into the floor drain. So it's not like a backup or a stop up, if you will. It's just something's just not allowing that water to lay out. You put a plunger on it a few times, like today, it wasn't any problem with flushing or anything. You could see some dirty water in that floor drain, which is another question in my mind because it doesn't look like sewage. I don't know if it's dirt, I don't know what it is. But you plunged it a little bit, kind of opened it back up, the water got clear, and then we were able to put some paper in there and flush it and see it flush on out to the street. So it really is kind of a mystery at this point, but we've been talking to the plumber himself, between Lane and Troy and I, even an engineer that I talked to today, kind of picking his brain. There's a few little things we can do. Rob's suspicion is that perhaps that floor drain might just be almost horizontal to where maybe it's just wanting to rise up there. We want to isolate that and see, because again, it's not
Who's Rob?
clogging up. Rob is the plumber. It's not stopping up into that toilet. I think it was just always evident that you'd see water come up in that.
Well, I don't think it's going to come back to the toilet because
Yeah.
the drain is letting it break before.
Yeah, it's letting it break free, so we kind of feel like we want to isolate that until we see if that's doing anything. I guess the thing today to let you guys know is that we've got like 5 people on it. We're kind of trying to figure it out. We're not going to stop. We're going to see. And worst case, I don't know what a worst case is. I don't even know what the answer is. We talked about doing like a pressure-assisted toilet, which would allow a lot more force. It's almost like it needs more water. It needs more pressure, more current, just to push those lines out. I don't know if that's a solution. Could it make it better or worse? I don't know yet. So we're just sort of tackling these things, but I want to do them step by step first.
So were y'all able to get the elevation of the invert?
He didn't actually have inverts, but by him examining that, in fact, we were able to find photographs and all that as well. There's a sufficient enough fall with that. And
Do you have an engineer coming out to the
I
building.
can if you guys want to do that. I mean, he even said he could
Well,
sort of look at his
like what
riser.
we talked about, right now, you only have 1, 2, 3, 3 on a busy day, usually 1 or 2 people occupying the office, so that's all the use it's getting.
Yeah.
But we are about to open up both of them to the public when the park comes online. So when we get that increased pressure, I think we're all a little concerned about having it back up constantly. And then, there's only a floor drain in one of those.
Correct.
Did it only call for one?
It did not. It called for a couple, yeah.
Okay, because I think
To
it
look
is a
at.
requirement that public restrooms have a floor drain.
Yeah.
And especially if we're gonna have them backing up, that's gonna be a mess if we don't have a
Yeah,
floor drain.
yeah.
So I do think we need, whatever, you are the professional of record.
Yeah, I can report back, but
Mhm.
like I said, there's a lot of professionals, licensed, different people involved in trying to figure this out. I mean, it's kind of a mystery. And, I don't know if it means we need to do a forced, lift station or what, which will help pump a lot of the water out. I mean, I'm gonna look to an engineer as well to kind of get some assistance from him on it. Figure this out. I mean, when you look at the camera too, there's that old cast iron line. I mean, it's suspicious looking once you get it. Our line was clean. Everything's real clean in the PVC. In fact, the other thing is there's only a little bit of water, right? Which means that the water is flowing out. If there was backing up water, it would be full. So as the camera would go through, there's hardly any water. So it's like looking at the bottom of a drainage system, a ditch, if you will. It's just a little bit of trickle. So as you follow this thing through the cast iron, I mean, it's just, crust cast iron is all grumbly, but there's a couple of sections there that look broken. Even Guy was looking at it, was like, is that a root breaking through? Is it, I mean, to me, it looks like part of the cast iron, the edge of the pipe, kind of bent in. So I'm not an expert in it, the forensic studies of plumbing lines, but could there be dirt backing up in it? I don't know.
But y'all put the camera, when y'all did the camera, y'all got the camera all the way down to the cleanout.
Right, right.
So it's not obstructed.
Yeah, you're not seeing any obstructions or anything like that. Yeah. But it is a concern to me, because and the other thing that's a little bit of a mystery is the other toilet, and of course, it's not getting as much use, but you have been using it more. I say the other toilet,
So-
the one that's facing or closest to the post office, on the west side. So I asked Michelle if they could just use that for the time being, until we can start tackling this.
So Guy's, one of his theories was that there's too many 90s in it. What are your thoughts on that? Have you checked on that?
I think he's using the wrong terminology. No, you can't use 90s and get it inspected. They're 45s, so it's just a turn. But I don't see that being an issue. It's two other turns, and we have buildings all the time that are 150 feet long or 200, whatever. You've got multiple connections and verticals to horizontals, and even multiple floors. I'm not convinced that that's it. I mean, it's a little more distance. We got about another 30 feet of travel, but,
And how much fall do y'all have over those 30 feet?
well, 30 feet, if you go at an 1/8 inch per foot, you need 5 inches. So from that one end all the way over to where we tied in is a 5-inch drop.
We have that?
I didn't put a tape on it, but I recall looking, I've got photographs. I mean, you can clearly see it, that it's not going backwards. There's fall to it.
The one in the west has a shorter run back to the existing pipe, because
Just because of the
the
location.
original restroom was on the west side, so it's tying directly back. The one on the east side is the one that is running perpendicular to the old line and then tying in at a 45. So y'all haven't seen any issues with the one on the west side?
No, mainly because what I think is that there's no drain there, so we haven't had issues with anything coming out of the toilet on the east side restroom. But the only floor drain that's there is in the east side restroom, so.
Which is the lowest point of no resistance, because it's that,
it's not pushing up on the toilet at the top end of the line, it's not pushing up on the toilet in the middle, but both of those are sitting 1.5 feet off the ground, whereas the drain is.
Yeah, so we've talked about scenario after scenario. We don't have a solution for you tonight. That's all I can tell you, but we're not stopping. You know, let's try to get this thing resolved and, you know, figure out what the best plan of action is. For next week, you know, if it is open, I don't know if you guys have made a decision on this, but that one on the west side is the one that's gonna be pretty much open all day long. I think that was the decision, until you actually have an event that you would open both of those. Is that correct?
Well, the feasibility of the east side restroom being the restroom that office staff would use during the week makes a bit more sense since it's accessible from the inside of the building. We did say that we would not keep the restrooms open, you know, all the time, that they would only be open during events, but I think still it's concerning that, you know, only 5 people part-time have been using these restrooms.
Oh, yeah. No, it's
so-
very concerning that you have to go out 3 Fridays in a row
Right,
and look at it, so.
with
I
very
agree.
minimal use.
Cassie, what is the
All right.
situation with this drain being on the floor, or not being on the floor in the other bathroom?
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
Sure, come on up. Lay it down.
So Lane Dan, DC for the project. So there's a couple facts that we have. We're going back looking at pictures. We got all the inspections for the plumbing. So when Robert looked at it, we had the fall that is required for the inspections. As we're going back through the pictures we have, it appears that everything is right. Like, it appears that there's enough fall from the floor drain of the one that's backing up. It appears that there's enough fall from there, you know, based on the pictures and taking the elevations from top of concrete to what appears to be, obviously we don't have a tape measure, but there appears to be a lot of fall, a lot more fall than we need. So we're really perplexed, and we are working very diligently to try and solve the problem, because we're as concerned as anyone else. So let everyone know that. The floor drain in the other bathroom is there. You just can't see it. So we're going to uncover that this week. The guy who poured the floors for us covered it.
Okay.
So it's a very easy fix. We'll have that fixed. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
So what happened is just a lack of communication. Guy covers it because when you put a floor drain in, you put a temporary cover over it. So one of his guys poured that stuff and was, I guess, squeegeeing, and he just squeegeed over it. And so then no one said, "Where's the floor drain?" until we went in there and said, "Where's the floor drain?" And then as we were snaking, we saw the floor drain there. So then, and we're looking back at pictures, the floor drain's there. So we'll have that solution solved as well. But I just want everyone to know that, I mean, I've spent probably 4 or 5 hours of my life this week and last week with Tom and others. Troy is spending hours. You know, we're trying to figure this out. I do know the other thing is there's a flapper on this that we were not aware of, which clearly indicates there was a problem prior to this project. If there was not a problem, there would be no flapper installed.
Well, that's the sewage, that's the city's problem. I mean, that was the
Right.
city's sewage back, and it had nothing to do with our
I
lines.
want to state
Yeah.
that there are no 90s that were added to this project, so anyone who tells you there's too many 90s, there are no 90s. Everything meets plumbing code. Everything was installed by a licensed master plumber. We've got pictures, we've got everything, we've got inspections. So we're doing the best we can to solve it. What we're going to ask is, we need it to fail again, really. And we need to get over there when it fails. The last time it failed, I think we were there within 4 or 5 hours, and it had almost cleared itself. We snaked the camera down, and we were too late. So Rob, the licensed master plumber, has agreed to be like on the ready when it does fail again. We have to get over there with a snake to actually snake it, camera it down there and find out where is the problem.
Is that happening in conjunction with the rain? Like,
I was just going to ask the
So
same
that's the
question.
other thing, Cassie, and you well know, is if something is happening with the rain and that pressure's higher outside than it is inside, you know, that's the other thing. So that's another thing to rule out.
Well, that's what, the flapper is a backflow preventer,
Preventer,
right? So
correct,
that,
100%.
it's supposed to keep the storm water from coming in.
Correct.
It's not, but it's supposed to allow everything else to go out. the way
Once
it's
that
supposed to.
pressure's,
Yeah.
They checked it today?
And that's, I actually
But
so we need to look at the weather when it backs up, like, there's just there's
Yeah,
so many
a little
variables
off.
we have going on right
if
now.
it's being used, when there is that backup situation with the flapper, if they're using it,
It's coming back up.
then it comes back up. So
100%.
There's,
is it being used while it is raining?
well, there's some capacity.
Where
I mean,
at
you
some
can
ca-
flush it a couple, I mean, like,
Yeah.
it's not immediate, but.
But like you said, it's the lowest, I mean,
Yeah.
the floor drain is the lowest path of resistance. That's where the failure, that's where the,
Like if it's raining out there, John, they may just have to wait 2 hours and not use the toilet because it'll start.
Yeah, I had to put one of those on one of my properties because I was having that trouble with the water, you know, so, but I know I have to tell them if it's raining hard, you can't use it right, because it's
hang
gonna
tight,
start
yeah.
coming in again.
Have you noticed any correlation to the rain?
The most
We've had a lot,
recent
we had a lot
time-
last week.
in fairness, I don't think we mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Until we found out this
Yeah.
flapper existed.
Yeah, it was
So-
really until this morning until we kind of started thinking
Yeah.
about it. It'd be hard to tell. I'd have to go back and look at the dates and look at the weather, to be honest.
Yeah.
The most recent time that it failed, it was not, I don't remember it raining, but very well could have been raining the first 2 times.
When it last Friday? For some reason, when I guess I started seeing these emails, I kept thinking,
Friday wasn't raining.
no, but Thursday it rained a lot. And that's why I was thinking maybe.
Thursday night, remember
Yeah,
it?
it was Thursday night, we got a major rain.
So it usually doesn't take very long for it to clear though when it rains. And
I
it
don't-
also, we're high, so we should be one of the first ones to
I
clear.
need to look at the dates.
So
Michelle,
that's just one more thing that we have to put into what's the weather? Yeah, you know, you run through all the problems,
Yeah,
right?
right.
That it could be. And, you know,
Next Monday it's supposed to rain, so maybe.
Everybody go flush the
Maybe we
toilet.
could have them,
Everyone come to the DDD and use
on a
bathroom.
stick by and use the
I
bathroom.
don't even want to use a bathroom, but we can,
Hold it in until
there's
it
some other
rains.
techniques we
Now,
can use.
another, would that covered drain pipe in the second bathroom have anything to do with it?
We don't think so. But we'll have that open here, like,
Yeah, yeah.
post haste, and
It would be interesting to see
If that-
if water is, because that should be lower. I mean, I guess it's not a lot lower, but that should be lower. So if it's getting in there first,
Maybe that's, yeah.
it says something at least, maybe.
just so you know, floor drain, we're feeding the floor drain water from the sink,
Right.
from the P-trap of the sink, to make sure the P-traps stay full. So yeah, we've got, well, there's a lot of ideas we have floating around to try to sort this thing out. So we're gonna go in and color some water and see what we can see, what's happening and where it's going.
okay.
And so, I mean, I want everyone to be rest assured, we're on this thing. This is not something we've said, it's on you guys. I mean, we're calling and digging in and figuring this thing out, and we'll figure out what it is. You know, and, you know, everyone's very defensive, so when you ask someone from the city, well, you know, it's not them. If you ask the plumber, it's not him. If you ask us, it's not us. If you ask Michelle, not us, you know, so we will figure out what the solution is, and it will happen, so. We had Rob's commitment on the phone today. You know, if it's anything he did that has caused this, then he's 100% willing to do what it
Does he have a theory or not yet?
is. So we put about 10 theories out today, and it's more than I've ever wanted to talk about drainage and plumbing.
Yeah, and we don't have actual, like, does the city have actual, like, record from whenever they check the elevation? I'm calling them elevations, whatever the
The
technical term is.
inspection,
Yeah.
they don't physically go out and document it. So I talked to Robert Morgan as well today. We were going back through the inspection sheets. So, you know, he doesn't physically measure and say where everything is at every
Well,
foot.
So let's just ask that maybe y'all just get a notepad and just each
Document.
day make a note. It's
Whatever
raining,
information.
it's.
Take a screenshot of the weather.
Well, I think,
Just-
or just call. I mean, our office is right there.
Yeah, just make some notes.
She does
So
call. You
Yeah,
it'll be easy to look back and see, you know, okay, we had a problem today. But I would just make a note when it rains and it doesn't, just, or even like a little calendar.
Yeah.
Rained, it didn't rain, problem, no problem, just to kind of help.
If it rains, start checking.
Yeah.
Now, it does take a little while for the water to get soaked in. Yeah, I mean, it's not like immediately they start backing up, but.
know, and it could have been the night, I mean, that night before.
Yeah,
I'm
that was a lot of
back at
rain.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
And, You know, is that still, I don't know, I know there's problems in the city with the drainage. We all know that. That's not a deal, but, when you look at the cameras and everybody that looks, that has looked in cameras, that's probably the second or third camera I've ever looked in, so I'm not gonna sit up here and tell you that I know what I'm looking at. I'm asking, what am I looking at? What am I seeing? What is this? What is that? And the guys that look at the cameras every day, everything inside the building appears to be okay. It's all acceptable. And the minimum amount of water that's in the pipe in the building is like, you know, acceptable in a minuscule amount. So that's what's so perplexing. It should be very glaring. I mean, it's drainage, you know,
Yeah.
So we'll get to the bottom of it, and we want it done faster than you do, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see, what else do we have? There's it says notification of final completion, but we did the
That's a
substantial
clear-
completion, but that's the clear lien.
Yeah, so they have
Got a
the
copy of
clean
that?
lien certificate available in your packet.
And then you should have a copy of the
And
payout
then
number
just
6.
two other things, Tom. We did have one outlet that was not working. Troy has remedied that issue. So all outlets now work. And we are still awaiting one full-height cabinet.
Yep.
Can you give an update to the board on that?
What about the countertop? Tom, the countertop, with the refrigerator, y'all gonna route that out or something to get that hinge to be able to slide under there?
We could take a look at it. I think the only thing that's hitting that is the
Yeah.
screw, okay? Most countertops, we can't raise a countertop to 36.
No, I'm talking just cut a little notch in it where it'll slide under there. Y'all can't do that? Take a router or something?
They could take a router and go all the way
Yeah,
back with it.
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. You hear what you were talking about?
Some part of
I'll
the
get with you on that.
refrigerator won't slide under.
The full height cabinet, Troy was working on that again today. The cabinet guy that initially did it I think he's got state work or something he's doing. He keeps putting us on the back burner. You want to do it?
So the options on the cabinet update are this. We had to reorder the skin to skin the cabinet. We can hang the cabinet with no skin on it, or we can just wait for the skin to come in and hang it all at one time if it's not a big deal.
Just wait. Huh? Just wait. There's no reason.
We missed, the cabinet guy missed it on the plans is what happened. He sends the cabinet order out, we put everything up there, and then,
Yeah, just when it's
Missed
done,
the
it's
deal.
done.
so it's,
Whenever y'all are ready, we're ready.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather personally, rather it be all together
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
one thing.
that's-
Yeah, just
and
do it
not
all.
have to-
Y'all don't,
No rush.
yeah.
The 28th, the material is, as you know, is always
So
fun.
it's kind of like one of those things like the storefront, the glass is not.
Yeah, no, it's, like I said, just wait till it's all.
And then we'll check on the refrigerator deal. Sometimes you can take some of that protective stuff off of the hinge or something and get it under there.
I would just route it, just cut a little notch in it, so you can just,
Okay.
I think actually just taking that screw out completely, it'll
Okay.
shut right over. We'll look at it.
whatever y'all want to do, just get it under there.
So the only thing left, I guess, is to approve the last pay up, the one pay up 6 is for that $1,000. And then the final is the retention. Correct?
Well, do we need to hold just until we get the cabinet for the
So
cabinet?
pay app number 6 was the 1,000 that we reduced from pay app 5 to address the office storage closet door situation. So.
It turned out good too, by the way.
So 6, we could approve tonight. 7 is retainage.
So 6, we can approve. Anybody, is there a motion on that?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Evan, second? Frank DiVittorio?
Yes.
John Gianna Gayran?
Yes.
John Exnicius?
Yes.
Elizabeth Hollywood?
Yes.
Cassie Reagan?
Yes.
Evan Singer? Brian Wong?
All right. Now, Cassie, 7 is,
That's the retainage. We have the clear lien, so legally, we need to approve it and release it.
all right. Is there any,
I make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
Frank DiVittorio?
yes?
John Daniel Gayran,
Yes.
Donna Snitius,
Yes.
Elizabeth Hollywood,
Yes.
Cassie Riggin,
Yes.
Evan Singer, Brian Wong.
All right. Guess we're done.
All right, good.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lane. Thank you, Troy.
All right, the Creative Studio revolving loan. This came before the loan committee, or what do we call it? Is it the loan committee or finance committee?
Loan Committee.
Loan committee, and unanimously we approved it on the condition of presentation of a lease that matches the repayment period of the loan.
So in your packets, you do have a cover letter from Kaylee, which I do encourage you to read. And you will see her application as well of the loan that she is looking at, her intentions of utilizing those funds. Kaylee is here tonight. So
Yeah, Michelle, I want to go over so she's asking for a 25,000 unsecured loan, and the repayment term would be 3 years, correct? Is it a 3-year term?
historically, we have had a 3-year term for 25,000 unsecured loans.
Okay. And Kaylee, did you want to say anything? You want to address? You're welcome to.
Go ahead and read there. It's a little long, but this is the introduction about.
Kaylee, can you approach the podium?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. It's okay. Fine.
Yeah, and Kay, I wouldn't read it. If there's anything you want to add or just say, or just talk to us. I know you and
I'm
several
really
of us
bad.
do, but everyone's had what you've written here, so there's no need to read it.
Well, so I guess I'm here to back my desire to have a loan because Michelle brought to me that there were some concerns about the length of my lease and as far as the terms of the loan. However, I know it's public knowledge what other recipients in the past of the loan have gotten, and it's pretty uncommon to get a 3-year lease in downtown Hammond. Most of the landowners are not going to sign a 3-year lease, and in fact, several of the recent businesses that got the loan do not have 3-year leases. One has a 1-year lease, and so I'm just a little confused as to why it's such an issue. I've had a business for 11 years, and I work with a lot of you on the board and business owners in downtown Hammond, and my goal with the Creative Studio is to help grow. So, sorry, I'm really bad at this.
You're doing fine.
No, you're doing fine. And why don't you tell us, Kaylee, a little bit? Kaylee has partnered with the DDD multiple times, including on the Front Porch Project during the shutdown in 2020. She's done the headshots for the DDD in the past.
She
Do you
also
wanna-
shot Hammond Table for us, our inaugural farm-to-table dinner.
Yeah, so I have donated a lot of my time and photography and marketing to various businesses in the DDD with the goal of growth as a community. I'm very invested in the community. I intend on staying here, raising my family here. I graduated from Southeastern, and it's just my interest to be here and grow my business here. And so I have no intention of moving my business outside of downtown. Should my lease, so contractually, my lease would be up about 9 months before the loan terms would be over. So in the event that my landlord does not re-sign, my intention would be to get something very much in the downtown area where I'm at, if it's available. But we all know the real estate market is extremely volatile right now, and in 2.5 years or 2 years, we don't know what it's going to be. My ultimate goal would be to purchase something at that point, and then be permanently downtown. So I have no intentions of leaving.
She also, before she was in her current location, she was located on Cypress Street for 2 years, or longer than that, with her
Yes,
previous
so,
business.
I was located there from 2018 to 2020 with Local Honey, and then when we sold that, that became my photography studio, and then the studio outgrew that space pretty quickly, so we moved into this space, which is a very optimal space for what I'm trying to grow with the Creative Studio. Which, just to clarify, it's in your letter, but to clarify, the goal is to provide services in small group settings and kind of one-on-one, customized attention to small businesses and help the businesses do some of the work that they just can't do on their own all the time as far as marketing and design and that type of thing, brand image.
So is the 3-year lease, is this something new that we've added to the terms on this loan that we didn't have on the previous?
When we were discussing this, it came up as a, outside of our journey here at the loan committee, just from the bank, that's something we typically look at to make sure it's really to protect the tenant as much as the creditor. Because hypothetically, if you lost your spot, you had nowhere to work and earn revenue, it would create an issue. But and Michelle and I mentioned that at our meeting. We said, hey, this came up in our discussion as a potential issue. Is that a problem? We understood it would be a non-issue for you, so we didn't see it being an issue to pursue with the committee. But I don't, I don't think that I think with it, you're personally guaranteeing the loan. If you move to Zimbabwe afterwards, you're still guaranteeing it, and I think we should still proceed without this. But the loan terms are preferential, and they were meant to be for people downtown, and that's kind of the idea. So that's where it came up.
Okay, so I have had this loan in the past, and when I got it, I was at 111 East Thomas, and the building was sold, and I relocated 3 doors down to the corner of Thomas and Kate. There was no requirement, to my knowledge, and there was no issue when I moved from one building to another. As somebody who's leasing a building, you never know when the owner is going to sell or make a decision to do something different. So,
can I add to that? So when I owned Local Honey, my other business, we also had a loan through a bank, not through the DDD, of which when we sold the business, it was paid back. But we were granted that loan without our lease term being a part of the loan process. And I, in fact, the business was sold before the loan was paid off. So just.
Yeah.
And this one is based on Kaylee, your lease term, it's like through July 2023, plus you have a 1-year extension.
Extension, yes.
And then it would be month to month or whatever. So
Correct.
we're talking about, what did you say? It was like 8, 9 months?
It's 9 months, about 9 months that it
Okay.
would be outside of the
Outside
loan
of-
term.
Okay.
I don't think that we should hold up a loan on a viable business in downtown based on a lease that you don't have control over. I mean, I have 2 businesses. One has a year-to-year lease and one has a 3-year lease. It's not up to me. It's up to who I'm renting from, what my lease is. So we're supposed to be promoting business in downtown.
I will also state, just in the application, we do ask for the lease, but in our application, we don't state any particular parameters that we're looking at. So if that were to be something that the loan review committee wanted to explore in terms of our application, that's a possibility. But, being a part of the review process and knowing the loans that we have given out in the past, Kaylee has been a shining example of a new business owner in downtown, and I think that we can only benefit from her being here. So I would urge the board to move forward favorably as well.
And also, Kaylee, thank you for, sorry to interrupt you, Evan. Thank you for coming tonight, because we don't typically have our applicants that when they apply for loans come and kind of present their case. So we appreciate you coming here tonight, too. Sorry, Evan?
Motion to approve. A second.
Who's second?
Brian?
Brian? Okay. Frank DiVittorio?
Yes.
John Diel Gayran?
Yes.
John Exnicius?
Yes.
No worries.
Elizabeth Hollywood?
Yes.
Cassie Reagan?
Yes.
Evan Singer?
Yes.
Brian Wong?
Thank you.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Thanks, Kaylee.
The expansion of the DDD. All right, this came up, we've actually, I guess it's come up periodically over the years. The possibility came up of expanding the DDD. I just kind of wanted to, this is not an action item tonight, on what the thoughts were of possibly expanding it to I've kind of referred to this as the point to the point, on 190 fronting Thomas and Morris. I don't think we have any map or picture or anything in here, do we?
I can pull it up really quickly.
So, going east to where Morris and Thomas come back together at the, I was trying to get the map on the city's website earlier, and going to the railroad, I'm not sorry, not the railroad, the point over toward Albertsons to the east. On both sides in the middle, fronting the highway. That's, the green is us now?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little bit smaller, or just make it bigger.
I asked,
Yeah, I don't think it.
I asked Andre a little bit about the process. He's looking into it a little more. It would require a state amendment to the state statute, a change in the state statute. And it would probably be kind of a little undertaking.
So,
And then
Frank, you're saying from this point where the cursor is?
Yeah, from that point to
It would be.
The west
zoom
where the
out
first.
a little bit.
it's not, that says.
Yeah, it's cut off
gets-
there
it's
first.
cut off,
Captured,
yeah.
but it
Oh,
would
it's just
be.
not even on the map.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So from where Mars and Thomas split to the east to where they join back to the west, or?
No, my question to you, you know, how you basically see from East Church, West Church to all the way to Hanson and Edwin Way, would you continue that line along those two roads also towards the east and also towards the west?
No.
Or are you just thinking the in-between East Thomas and East Morris?
I'm thinking in between, so, okay, I don't know the answer to that question yet. So I asked Andre, I'm not sure whether or not we can split a block. So we might have to, I was trying, like I said, I was trying to pull this map up to see if we had any split blocks, and actually I don't see any on here. So it might be that we can't split a block. So it might be that if we wanted to take in the south side of Morris, we would have to take that whole block to Hanson.
Yeah, and I think you do, and I think you do that both on Hanson and all the way on Church or Robert, and you basically maybe even let Ponchatoula Creek
Yeah, I don't know if,
form a border.
yeah, this would not, the way it's drawn now would lead you to believe that it has to be a hard, like a landmark.
Is it?
Yeah.
Look north, like on North Oak, it doesn't, I don't think it does that.
Don't
See,
we,
it goes
didn't the
just-
master plan address expansion of the DDD? Doesn't
We
it
do have,
like a overlay map that shows what was
a-
recommended? Because it went south as well, right?
It did.
And what was that recommendation based on? Like, how was that?
Let me look up.
The master plan recommendation?
Mm-hmm.
Based
Well,
on
the-
tax dollars, or, I mean,
That could be anything, John. Not that this has any, I mean, this is just kind of,
Yeah.
not that there's,
I'm just finding
Okay, yeah.
rhyme or reason of where to stop and start. I mean,
So-
is there,
yeah, I don't know, I don't know what the rhyme or reason was for that. I can tell you the rhyme or reason where I came from with this was that
There you go.
Morris and,
There you go, and that's what they do, Frank. You see how
Yeah,
they.
look, it goes all
Okay.
the way. Yep.
Morris and Thomas are heavily trafficked roads and more commercial.
Yeah.
And they incorporate Zamari Park,
Which I think that's already.
It already
part of
is.
No, it's not according to that.
Zimmerman Park is not in our district.
no,
See, it's
Oh,
the
it just
pink.
goes
The pink
past
is
it.
ours.
Okay.
the red.
Yeah.
The red
Red
Outline
line
in red
is
is the current
current.
district. And then,
I did not think we should, again, I mean, this is not, what I'm suggesting here is not the end of the, the end all and be all, but I didn't go north of Kate Square because that's mainly residential, and I just felt like there would be more opposition to expanding in that direction.
do we think that? I mean,
That's what I thought. Like I
Yeah.
said, John, I'm not,
Right.
I didn't base this on any, this is just
yeah,
shooting from the hip, kind of.
Yeah.
This is the first, discussion we've had of it,
One item that I'll just share for this, I think Poorhouse Pizza is kind of an example. They are located 2 or 3 blocks off of the district.
Yeah.
So there are, and we do have some businesses and residents who would like to participate with the DDD, although they don't pay the millage. So certainly, you know, I don't know if this is going to come up anytime soon. We would require going to the legislature. It would require an election, so we'd have to have expenses that we would incur for those things. So, but, you know, anecdotally, there have been interest from people who would like to receive benefits that the DDD offers. Obviously, focusing more on business commercial corridors would probably be in our best interest versus residential, unless we have a really robust, you know, that residential committee getting back up and going and having more tangible, like, results through that. But it's in our master plan, and if the board wants to do it, we can do it.
I mean, that even expands to.
Yeah, my opinion is a more modest expansion along a more heavily, the most heavily commercial area in that.
Why don't we all, like, take a better look at it over the next, till our next meeting?
Email
Not
that
the
to
Monday
everybody,
meeting,
yeah.
but the
I
next
can.
meeting.
I'll email you this particular
Because
section
if we're
of the
going to
master
go
plan.
through all the hoops we're going to have to go through in order to get approval to expand, I think we should do, you know, as much as we think we can.
That's my thought
Do it
too.
once.
Well,
That's my
Yeah, I
thought
would
too.
go that way.
Yeah.
So usually when you expand areas that have taxing authority and taxing ability, the more residential areas you take in, the harder it is to get it approved.
Well, we
So-
can look at eliminating some of the residential.
So I just,
I don't
like
have
I
a
said, I
problem
don't
with
know,
that.
you know, John was asking me that just now, why, like, I mean, I don't, I haven't talked to any group of people over there.
Can we, I wonder if we can poll them.
I think that would
I
be easy to
mean,
do.
if we got to the point where we were seriously moving forward with it, yes, we should absolutely do an actual formal poll before we got started, but.
We would need to do some formative research
And the other,
before we're really able to.
would there be are
pursue
we
it.
gonna get some kind of analyzation of the difference, how much tax dollars difference it would be if we brought those, is it worth
So-
the fight?
Well, right, so to be honest with you, and I had meant to do this before I got distracted with the sewage problem, but it is relatively easy to find out what whatever area we put in there would create in tax revenue.
Did the master plan do some of that research?
It's gonna be dated anyway, but now probably.
It's 19. I mean, it wasn't that long.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not that.
this is the 19th.
Yeah, it's 19.
Yeah,
Really,
this is the
just
new-
recommendations for the areas. I would imagine with the information that they had to pull to come up to this recommendation, they may have other data that is not in this plan, but they still may have saved, so I can reach out to them to see if they
It'd
may
be
have
easier
some
to
of
reach
that
out.
data on hand.
Just reach out to the tax assessor and ask them if this area, if the millage was added to these areas, what that would calculate.
Yeah, Ralph, please.
Ralph Ross, of course. For 20 years, it's been discussed that the current boundaries are in error. Streets' names have changed. In the original description, it describes streets that don't join, and yet it says they join. So, I mean, I think it probably needs to go back to the legislature anyway. And I'm not an expert on this, but I would think the legislature would be receptive unless they get some pushback. And the only other thing, I thought I had heard a discussion of let's bring Zamurray Park in just in case we want to be able to kick in some money to help with the Zamurray Park master plan.
All right, so is there, I guess if there's, at this point, just kind of, is there interest in,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, I think we should definitely
All right, well,
look at it.
I'll keep this on the agenda, probably not an action item next month either, but also we'll get the tax assessment run a few different ways, and y'all just get some input and feedback and see, like I said, because where I threw the boundary up is, I doubt there's much hard, basis as to why those boundaries is one block from one way or the other there, and I don't have
I would
any,
like
I
to
don't
know,
have a
yeah,
better reason for
what the
mine.
analysis is for them
I-
doing it this way.
I don't
So
have
we
a
can all
lot
look
of
at that.
basis for mine either. Like, it was just a starting point, so. Although I'm glad to see that it kind of agreed with mine to some extent, so. For whatever that's worth. All right, well then, let's just move on. All right, next topic, if there's not anything else on that. All right, organizational assessment and compensation study by SSA Consultants. I don't know how this got my name by it, but, all right. This was, well, I had brought this up originally, and I think there was, did you bring this up again?
You did.
Again?
You had it added to the agenda.
No, I know, but I thought there was some conversation of this. Okay. Well, last time I had brought this up, I'd brought it up kind of cold for everybody, kind of like I just did the DDD thing. And, I guess I know I had a discussion with somebody here. I don't know. Anyway, there was
It's
Right.
there was some discussion about with potential changes in the park, the changes in the farmer's market and
Potential for feed and seed.
feed and seed store and everything, maybe
And our
that-
staffing changes. and
staffing
things.
changes, there'd be more, maybe it's more appropriate than initially had, I don't know, then maybe it's more appropriate that we discuss that further.
And it is in the materials.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the services agreement that Frank got that you saw last meeting is here. Of course, the dates would most likely change, but the fee is $7,200, $7,200. Expected to be 32 hours of work. And I'm assuming that this scope of work would look at the potential, maybe look at our master plan, look at our future goals as an organization, to really assess to see what in terms of staffing makes sense for us and how, our master plan envisions that we grow and other priorities that we have. As we had added on 3 full-time staff, we now only have 2 full-time staff, one of which is on maternity leave. And, we've kind of gone round and round of, what does that last position look like? Is it full-time? Is it part-time? And maybe we need a little bit of guidance in sort of tuning that a little bit.
And we've also been talking about moving a little bit away from, the downtown party planners into more kind of hard economic development type projects and development, like the feed and seed thing. And maybe there's, what skills and job descriptions and things we need to kind of look for in terms of being able to manage that.
Yeah, and one of the things I really liked is that part of the course of action was in exactly what Frank just said. It would be to draft those position descriptions, the expectations of what the staff would be to do if we have some organizational issues. I think that's a big thing that we've been looking at, and as well as like compensation review. Are they being, are our staff being compensated for the hard work they do adequately?
Frank, is there a particular reason why we chose SSA, and do we have 2 other comparable quotes?
We do, okay, so these are professional services, so we don't have to get it, but that's not, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but where they came from is the city has used them in the past. I was part of another city committee that did a study, and Lacey had recommended these people, and we actually got quotes from some others, and I don't remember where they all, one of them was substantially more expensive than this one. And then, so this was the cheaper one of the quotes we got for that committee, and they've worked with the city before multiple times, I believe. And so it just seemed like I didn't do a lot of shopping. I didn't do any shopping around, actually, beyond what we had done as part of the other committee and talking to the city, so.
We've used them, Frank.
Yeah.
For similar
Yeah,
projects.
for new ventures. My question was, it's like after they do the study and they give us job descriptions and salary recommendations and everything, I couldn't tell, but will he have like ongoing maintenance. The key will be whatever the recommendations are, ongoing monitoring of that, because you can write a new job description today, but I mean, for months later, I mean, and I don't know if that's part of this or that'd be separate, but.
So I didn't ask him to do that. So I didn't even think about it. So it's probably not part of it. I don't know if he would. I'm sure he will for, for a fee, but, but
He's
that
the
was,
project
I didn't ask
administrator.
him to include that.
Right.
I don't know if that was included in the project.
Unless he just did on his own. Like, it wasn't something I said, and do this. Let's see, is the whole report in here?
It looks like
This
this
is
is
the proposed course of
to
action,
create,
the last
to
page.
create this scope of work.
So I guess, do y'all, are y'all at the point where y'all feel like you have enough information to decide to take action or not? What do you want to get to that point so we can have that? Or do you not want to proceed with this at all?
I'm prepared to make a motion to enter into this agreement.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing as long as we aren't throwing money at the wall and not do anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, it would be something that we need to follow through with and actually make changes and.
Is there a better time, I guess, throughout the year to do it, or just go all in now, or?
Tomorrow never comes, you know what they say.
Yeah.
I think we should, well, depending upon his availability, it very likely will coincide with Chelsea coming back. So Chelsea and I will be working full-time.
You
Well,
as
and I guess-
staff, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's
We
okay,
do
you
have
go.
to make a decision if we're going to hire a third person, if we do hire a third person, what that third person's job
Yeah,
is. So
yeah.
maybe that answers
Yeah,
that
yeah,
timing question.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
No.
I was just going to say, from a standpoint of you being staff and being in the weeds here, do you feel like this would be, on a scale 1 to 10, how valuable would this be for you?
I would say about a 6 or 7.
Okay.
Because between Chelsea and I, Chelsea thinking about past experience, both of us kind of understanding what we're missing right now, but also, with, the scope of our master plan, the types of skills that would be needed to do that type of work, I think there's things that we can learn from it as well. And since this includes interviews with myself and Chelsea, and Frank, and other board members, I think it would be helpful to kind of have more of a North Star, so to speak, with who that third person or whatever it looks like, what makes sense in terms of our budget. Obviously he's going to give us some recommendations based upon, I guess a market analysis for the, what the pay should be. But certainly we're kind of spinning plates too of, what does it look like? How do we structure it? What kind of makes sense? So if spending this kind of gets us to those answers so we can be structured a bit more strategically, I think it's worth our effort.
Does it, I know this isn't, I guess maybe there's a minor part of this that would impact this study, but, okay, so we don't have many retail merchants downtown, but I have been cornered by 2 of them recently. Today was one of them, about how little the DDD does for retail businesses in downtown Hammond. So is there something that we do, maybe it's a survey of downtown businesses or something?
That could be
Not
incorporated.
necessarily a part of this, but it's something we do at the same time. So we find out all those things that, that we're not,
The gaps that need to be
the
filled.
gaps that need to be filled, that's a good
Absolutely.
way to put it.
When people corner you like that, do you ever, can you ask them, if you haven't, like, what do you want them to do? Like, because, people are always like, and I do it too, I don't mean to, not throwing stones here, well, I guess I am, but I'm in my guy's house, but, it's one thing to complain, but like, okay, so they're not doing enough. What do you want? Like, what would you like what's name?
No, I've
tell-
asked.
tell me.
I mean, people, they want events that center around retail and merchants. Hot August Night is not a retail.
No, it's a
party.
bar and restaurant. I don't
Right.
think there's any, I don't
So,
think there's any.
Starry Nights is more so than anything else we have right now, but only had it last year because of a fluke. We had decided to cancel that event. So, what do we really do to promote, encourage,
Communicate with.
That was one thing
That's always been
too, is that,
ongoing.
they had not been receiving emails, or they had not had somebody personally come in and speak to them.
Right.
So anyway, I'm not trying to get into all that tonight. I'm just saying maybe it's something that we do at the same time. So as we're developing job descriptions or things that we need to target, things we need to do. I mean, I wholeheartedly agree that we need more retail business in downtown. I think it's one of the primary things that we are missing. And I'm saying that knowing that's going to come in and be competition for me, but it's
be a good
not
thing.
necessarily. The more, if you become a retail destination, you get more people who come to downtown
Right.
Yeah.
to shop.
Right.
They park and they don't mind walking 2 blocks this way and 2 blocks that way and 2 blocks another way. So, and I'm sure there are other gaps that I'm not bringing up right now, but can we do that at the same time?
Yeah, I like that idea. I also would say too, just as much as, there may be new work ahead of us, it is also kind of getting back to the basics and streamlining those things, procedures, operations, beefing up our communication. So,
We're supposed to have some kind of constant contact, or maybe it's not constant contact, but one of those.
we use MailChimp.
Yeah,
We
one
do
of those
have,
things.
we do have mechanisms in place to have a really effective communication strategy. And, right now, at least, it has not been the most optimal time with one person, but
And look,
I.
nobody was complaining
no,
about
of course not.
about the last
I
3 months.
completely
It's been
understand.
more a broad.
Right. So moving forward, we do have those things in place, and ensuring that the person whomever we're looking at can, utilize those and really effectively deploy them to reach the needs of everyone within the district.
And it might be that, we have a limited amount of revenue too. It might be that expanding the DDD helps generate that money to get more staff.
It does increase our pool of businesses, so, we'd have to really have an effective strategy to reach them as
Communicate.
well,
Mhm.
too.
I just wanted to say that what you guys approved for my loan is partially the services that I'm trying to expand to is small group things where I can train business owners in how to have more effective communication and make money with their ideal clients. So just want to put that in there.
We've come full circle.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Did you have a motion?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to make a motion that we approve Frank to enter into this consultant services agreement with SSA Consultants.
Frank DiVittorio.
Yes.
John Daniel Garan.
Yes.
John Exnicius.
Yes.
Elizabeth Hollywood.
Yes.
Kelsey Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer. Brian Wong.
All right, design committee report.
Okay, we had, I'm not sure what day, well, I guess it was the first Thursday of the month, whatever that was.
We
date
had two
for our-
meetings.
We did have 2 meetings. Okay, so primarily what we did, there were 3 things. Eddie's son from Eddie's Frozen.
We had a review for Eddie's exterior paint.
Right, he has taken over his dad's business, or he's bought his dad out, and so he just wants to update paint, make it a little more, it's basically just different shades of what he has. So it's no huge, we're not going crazy colors. So he came in and presented all that. We approved that. We also had Daryl Smith come in. We had 2 separate meetings to do that. Review of Guy's Grocery and what's going to happen there. And we did on the last meeting approve that. And then the only other thing that we really did was review the mural options, which went out to the public.
Is there anything you can tell us about the guy's grocery, or?
It's public knowledge.
Yeah, well, we
it's
approved the
going to-
design concept, and you can.
Right, so he is going to, the current level that's there will be commercial, and then he's adding 2 floors, which will be residential.
What's the time frame on that, do you know?
He didn't, they don't have their construction documents fully completed yet, so They are going through the review process, so he sounds like he's moving forward with it. But he didn't give us any specific dates.
How many units is that, residential units is that gonna be, do you know?
Do you remember how many units? There were 2-story units. There were 2 that were single-story units that were bigger, and then the rest were,
Between, I would say,
Or
between
like
8
the
and
Ritz
10.
kind of style, like the Ritz, like town, like 2-story apartments?
they're just small 2-story, like living space on one, bedroom on
Like the
the
Ritz.
second.
Yeah.
Maybe similar. It's
Yeah,
been a
they
long
are.
time since I've been
Oh,
to the
okay.
Ritz.
It is,
but
yeah.
Yeah, so, it's not huge, it's not a lot.
It's just that footprint, it's the,
It's just the current
It's just
footprint
current
that's there, adding 2 stories in
Yeah,
the structure.
all right, anything else?
that's it.
All right.
He came in to ask for just our design committee approval on his paint color selections.
I did inform
So-
him that he's eligible for
He-
the facade grant.
Yeah, he will, you have to do the work before you can apply for the facade grant. So we did discuss it with him while he was there.
He must be right on the edge of it, huh?
Yes.
Is he the end, that block, that street is the end of it, that corner?
That's Hazel, I think.
No, that,
He's
is
on-
that Hazel or is that Spruce?
Oh, no, that's
Is it
Spruce. He's on right on the edge, yeah.
It's,
So he's on the corner of it?
That's Spruce.
I'm just
That's
curious,
right.
I'm not like, I didn't,
I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. No, that's not supposed
Technically, in the DDD, paint colors are supposed to be approved, but you don't have to get, and this is something that we're working on with the city, you don't have to get a building permit to paint. So there's no trigger to say you have to go to DDD and get approval. So there have been a number of times when it's happened, and we've realized it after the fact. But, so we were very appreciative that he came in and showed us, and, like I said, they're very conservative, and it's basically just an updated version of what's there now.
Do you want to talk about the parking mall?
Thank you. Okay, so did
Oh,
you
I
talk
forgot
about that
about-
in the design committee meeting?
We forgot about that. We were brainstorming earlier. What did we talk about? We did talk about the parking mall, and
Didn't move on fast enough.
it did go out to bid, but I don't know if it came in within the budget.
Bids were due yesterday. I haven't had a chance to look to see what came back.
What
Right.
parking lot?
So, yeah, that's, because Ralph actually brought this to my attention with an email.
On the corner of Coleman and Southwest Railroad Avenue, across the railroad
Hanson-
tracks from,
The Hanson Crossing property.
Property
right?
that we don't own that we've been trying to get ownership of?
Yes.
Wait, say what you.
the CN Railroad and the
Kate
State
Ayers.
Estate own it 50/50.
Right. And the city has, so the city has decided to pave it for a parking lot.
Mhm.
Is that correct? Okay.
So
But we weren't
technically-
approached.
So
about
technically, with the use of the Kates, as long as it retains public use, and the parking lot would be continued to be public use,
No,
That's not a thing.
That's not
That's not a
part of the
thing.
case. That's not, that condition.
well, the railroad still has to approve it, and that has not occurred.
No, time out. You're mixing up things. The Kate Estate gave the city the part in between Thomas and Morris and the part north of, I guess that's, I don't know, Morris, whatever it is, basically to the chamber building. As part of that donation to them, they conditioned that it be kept for the public use. The Kate Estate did not donate south of Hanson to the city. That's never happened, to my knowledge, unless it happened in the last, since the last time we looked at it.
When I
Yeah,
spoke with
I feel
Lacey,
like I
that's
would
what she stated.
It's not, I mean, that's
I mean,
one of the things, that's what we've had it on the agenda in the past, to try to clear that property, to, try to forge some kind of ownership in it. So, I mean, we weren't approached about it at all, clearly.
No,
So
we
the
weren't.
city- Yeah.
And the project
made this
was
decision.
put out to bid, without having review from the design committee. At a minimum, that would have
Right.
been the typical process that would have
Right.
been taken. Like I said, the bids were due yesterday. There's an addendum that was submitted
They
yesterday.
budgeted money for that, or can they put that out for bid without?
These are all questions that
Not
I
for
do
you,
not
I
have.
know,
Sure,
I realize,
right,
I realize it,
yeah.
I realize it.
Right, some members of the committee heard about it.
I guess, how is this our, I guess the question I'm kind of more curious about at this point is, how is this our business?
It's in the district.
It's in the DDD.
But we're not talking about spending money on it. We're not talking about.
We will, this is just to do the paving and some of the infrastructure. The city would like us to help with sidewalks and trees and stuff if it comes in budget, if they get to move forward with it. We did change the design.
So the design committee did get their input on.
Retroactively after the bid was submitted.
Okay. But still, like they did, so y'all were able to give your input and they approved your input on what the design would.
So the,
The mayor took the recommendations to the city engineer, and they made all of the changes except one, which was a power pole that they could not do anything with at that point. So
the addendum that was issued, originally bids were due yesterday, but they issued an addendum which has the continuation through May 17th, which you can see up here. And then the parking lot configuration, it says the layout is expected to be modified to conform with the Hammond Downtown Development District direction. The revised drawing will be issued subsequent to Canadian National Railroad comments. If any, the city of Hammond has solicited comments from Canadian National Railroad and has, of the date, received no response. So at a minimum, in the Unified Development Code, the design guidelines that the design committee enforces are a part of the review of any new construction renovation that were to take place. This falls in with that.
Right.
So at a minimum, that should have been,
I agree. And if there's, they're not asking us to contribute, frankly, that, like, the design committee should have had their review of it, and I guess that's happened.
But there's no ask. Well.
Do we anticipate an ask
formally,
coming?
Yeah, I'm saying is like, there's been no.
Right.
What I meant was, as of tonight, like, it's, whether they own it or not, we can't stop, I mean, like, that's not our problem.
that's not our.
Right, I mean, whether,
We gave design input.
Right.
They took it, they made modifications.
Okay.
If it is, again, successful in its bid and the railroad doesn't block it, then they would like to work with us to make it the same as all the other parking lots that we, add the sidewalks, continued the bollard lighting that we
there's
did.
sidewalks down there, aren't there?
Yeah.
Sidewalk
Well,
right
the
there.
sidewalks, the way we have them everywhere else, tie it into, they're gonna tie it
the
into
red brick
Hanson.
type insets, the
I do
The
wonder.
trees that we
landscape lighting,
use.
the landscaping,
How
the
many
shade
spots are they
trees.
getting in? How many parking spots?
About 33.
Well, we can, I guess we can
I
cross
mean,
that bridge.
there's no
when-
action
yeah.
item on this.
No, I mean, we
tonight.
we can cross that bridge when we get there, but they don't, I mean, please.
This kind of feels like Groundhog Day. You may remember that the pavilion was going to go there originally.
Yes.
And that died for multiple reasons.
Yep.
But one of which was that the railroad came back and said, we need a $300 million liability policy.
Right.
There was rumor at the time that Parking Lot Pete wanted a parking lot there, so they went and got a lease agreement from the railroad that would make it impossible to put the pavilion there. And this has come up over and over again. I mean, you've looked into it. Paul Murphy has spent a lot of time on this, trying to get the city title to that property. The railroad has demonstrated that they're willing to almost give away some of this property. In Independence, where they did build a pavilion, they sold that property at not quite as big, for like $5,000 to the
They never
city.
cashed the check, Ralph, and they never
Never
even cashed
cashed
the
the check.
check.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what's going on here.
Ralph-
It's not in the capital outlay budget, I can tell you that. But with the last time this came up, it was supposed to be in the capital outlay budget then that the Wongs were going to pay a third of it, the DDD was going to pay a third of it, and the city was going to pay a third of it. Now, it may go forward this time, and, it's not much more I can say, but just one thing, to me, more asphalt as we drive into the city is to me, not a good look. But we need parking. I would ask the DDD, the city, to take a little bit longer-term look at this. I was in Little Rock, Arkansas yesterday, Bay St. Louis last month. A lot of smaller towns are taking one block off of the main drag and building a really super good-looking multi-story parking lot. Hammond's going to need that. And in my opinion, it's not too soon to be looking at that.
Yeah, I've never heard him called parking lot Pete, but I like parking lots too. But Ralph, I will tell you this. I personally spoke to the railroad also, and they were, for whatever reason, and Elsbeth and I talked to the mayor of Independence, the former mayor of Independence. That's how we know about that check not being cashed. But they were not, we didn't get the same response from them, like, just take it, don't worry about it. I can communicate that to you with firsthand knowledge. I don't know why. Now, at the time, there was it sounded like a lot of turmoil was going on in terms of people turning over, like, not turmoil, like, just people were retiring, and I think it might have been was it during the pandemic? I feel like maybe it was. I don't know.
It was before
But
that.
there was a lot of change going on in the people who were in charge of that. But, like I said, I personally spoke to them. You did. We both did, didn't we?
Yeah.
And they were not sure, take it, it's yours, you can have it. So I don't know but yes, they did something different. The past actions are not always representative of future, binding precedents, whatever you want to call it. It was a very different, just because somebody did something once doesn't mean they're going to do it again the same way. So I don't know.
I guess I'll also say, just at a minimum, this issue that has come up, I think just shows that as an organization, that we can work more effectively with the city and with the design committee, being sort of more or less involved with, reviewing plans as such, looking to see how we can work more effectively with the administration, elected officials, what have you, to kind of plan a bit more strategically and coordinate a bit better with respect to items like this.
All right. Farmers Market Committee.
All right. Well, what am I supposed to say about that?
Just give an update about the meeting.
Okay, yeah, so we did have a meeting where the students came and did,
Focus group.
What do you call it?
Focus group.
The focus group. So, they polled the committee on a bunch of questions. And did we get anything back from them yet?
We don't have the results yet. They really asked the committee, which is vendors and John, with questions about the market location. That has been a topic of interest, especially as we look at Railroad Park coming online. The market has grown significantly since moving over to the feed and seed, and we have some logistical challenges of fitting back over at Railroad Park. And the move over to the feed and seed, like I said, we have significantly grown our vendor number, and customers anecdotally enjoy it. So in addition to a focus group with vendors and seeing a bit more about what they think, we'll be doing a survey of vendors with respect to the market location, what they're really looking for, or what's ideal. So infrastructure, gravel, not gravel, restrooms, items of that nature. And then also looking to customers to see, what their vision really is for the market too. So.
That's it.
Staff report.
I'll just be really quick. Chelsea's return to work date is May 4th. That is the official one that she has delivered. I think this is actually an old report. I had an updated one, but the office will be closed this Friday. I will have to be in Monroe for the State Preservation Conference, which is required attendance for our Main Street accreditation. So I will be driving up to Monroe and then driving back to open up the farmer's market on Saturday. The Main Street Now conference, which is the National Main Street Conference, is May 16th through the 18th. We anticipate very, well, I won't say that much, but it will be a really good time for Hammond at that conference. So we have a few community members that are joining us there, and the office will likely be closed during that time as well. Hot August night is coming up sooner maybe than I would like. I have emailed the events committee to convene them next week to start strategizing a little bit and to develop roles and responsibilities around really the people that we need to make that event what it needs to be. Looking at the Strawberry Festival, and they had record attendance, record numbers, and people are really looking for that for Hammond. I know that it's like our flagship event, so we'll be looking at strategizing a bit more for that over the next couple of weeks. And then once Chelsea comes back, I think we'll really hit the ground running on that one. The Railroad Park grand opening, I mentioned, is June 1st. We're working on all of that communication. We've had to table Picnic in the Park, but would love to resurrect a summer series. We will have a band playing at at the Railroad Park grand opening, but our tried and true Picnic in the Park in Kate Square. Would love to have a summer series around that. So once Chelsea gets back, we'll be looking to secure sponsorships and whatnot for that. The wayfinding signage that has been in the work for almost 2 years has officially been installed, and it is beautiful. I wish I had a picture to show you. Four signs in total, one by the DDD office, one by the train depot, and then there are 2 smaller directional signs that are on the corner of Thomas and Railroad and then Thomas and Kate. So excited that those are there. This is old stuff, but we did have Arts in Bloom partner with us at the Feed and Seed for the first Saturday of April, and it was a wonderful day. Many vendors, a lot of customers. It was great to see everyone out for that. We held a community garden work day last Saturday, and the community garden is coming along, and Tiffany is actually here. I just want to commend her on the work that she's done in her internship to get that up and going, because really it would not be thriving the way it is without her. So I just want to commend her on that. And that's really, there are probably more things, but that's really the gist of it.
Any questions, comments?
Thanks, Michelle.
I was just wondering, because this was my first time on Thomas Street for Hot August night or Starry November night. Do we normally close that street, or is it always open?
I don't think we can
Always
close
open.
it.
Can't close it? I figured it was probably
Highway.
that. I was just wondering, because
Yeah.
I didn't notice before how crazy it is
Yep.
with the street being open, but okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Discussion regarding the Feed and Seed lease agreement and possible purchase agreement. Executive session may be called.
So just as an update, John and I met with Fritz last week, and we did discuss the lease and potential options. So with respect to how that conversation needs to move forward, I'll take the direction of Frank as chair, or maybe John ex officio, to see how we want to move forward with discussing.
Yep. So, just to kind of fill you in on the general idea of the meeting, it was an opportunity for us to share with Fritz and Will, who's here today, how, our vision as far as the Feed and Seed and the ability for it to become a really center place for our community. And, I felt like it was a good meeting. And through this process, which I know we have all discussed in the past, that we have realized, the great potential that is there in a very short period of time. And just just seeing the farmer's market, the farm to table, and the potential that that has given, and I'll tell you, even when we were in the when the students came to pull the farmer's market guys, I mean, in general, you know, the consensus was all their business has been up, it has grown from being over there, and the naysayers of being over there is more of a standpoint of the issues that they're running into with the condition of it, that based on, you know, which we've discussed in the past, our current terms that we're in prevent us maybe from remedying those issues, because they're a lot more costly than we initially could have thought until we really got into the weeds and had people look at numbers and have an understanding of, you know, that building is a preserved building by the Historic Commission and things like that. So it's quite the financial undertaking, but if we have the ability to work with the Andersons to come to some type of agreement here, I believe the potential could be really set us on the map for our town. And I would like to see this to be more of the directive, as important as it is to have events and fun things to bring people downtown. I think this type of opportunity, whether it continues or not, is the type of things that we really need to fight for and do our best to make happen, because I think they can have the biggest impact economically for us as a town. So with that being said, is there anything that you would like to share from our meeting before, because I'm going to probably make a motion to go into executive session to discuss, you know, how we're going to move forward with this, but is there anything that you'd like to share with us from our meeting?
Fritz Anderson III. I am not an owner of 103 East Robert. My father and aunt are owners, so I'm not willing to speak for them, not authorized to speak for them on the matter of the property or the lease. I can only speak as a resident of Hammond about the farmer's market.
Yep.
Need anything from that? But.
Okay.
Well, I know you were out at the market past Saturday. You and your family were out there. So it was good seeing y'all shop at the market.
Yeah, no, we really enjoy it, and brought the in-laws some Louisiana strawberries in Mississippi, so success.
Nice.
Appreciate the work y'all are doing and trying to do.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion to go in executive session to discuss the feed and seed agreement.
Oh, second.
Sorry.
Who would like to second?
Cassie.
Frank DiVittorio.
Yes.
John Daniel Garian.
Yes.
John Exnicious.
Yes.
Elspeth Hollywood.
Yes.
Cassie Reagan.
Yes.
Evan Singer. Brian Wong. Oh, he's not here. Did he just leave?
He left.
He left.
Can you turn off the